Yeah, it looks good, mate. I tested it. All right,
Nice.
Bosh, we're back. Squeeze the Neck podcast. And today I'm Fightzone London with my new mate, Marco Canha.
Yes.
Marco, thank you
your
very
pleasure,
much to do
man.
this.
Nice, my
brilliant.
pleasure.
So, obviously, very grateful to be down here, mate. I obviously know who you are.
Thank you.
I've trained here before. I believe you're a
Okay.
4th degree black belt in Jiu Jitsu.
Yes, correct.
So if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
But with all these podcasts, mate, I always start off, I always, sort of ask a little bit about where you come from.
Yeah.
And with your accent, I'm assuming you're not from East London. So we'll get into that and then we'll talk about how you came here, mate.
Sure. Yeah, I was born in Rio. I started Jiu Jitsu in Rio, where 1994, 95. So yeah, been training for a while now, 4th degree black belt, and I've been in London since 2009.
Wow. So in 1994 you started training Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
So you're obviously older than you look, man. How old are you?
I'm 42.
42?
Yeah,
Wow.
January I'm 43, so almost there.
Almost there, yeah. By the time this comes out, maybe you'll be 42.
Yeah,
That's cool, man.
yeah.
And what was it like in Rio when you grew up? Was Jiu-Jitsu sort of a thing that everyone did or what?
Yeah, it was very popular, obviously apart from football, Jiu-Jitsu was very popular, especially in Rio, like where majority of the gyms in Brazil were, and where it became, I think, popular in Brazil first. And then, yeah, it was very popular at the time. Everyone, it was not everyone, not a lot of people, but there's a lot of guys that I knew, that I grew up with, who started training. The guys that trained Jiu-Jitsu were seen as like maybe a bit not very well, like people didn't like much because they see the ears sometimes, and in the start, some of the guys would kind of fight a bit in the bars and parties and stuff. So that gave what was the first impression people had. But yeah, it was really popular.
That's
sure.
cool, because 1994, right? If you said to someone in London in 94 Jiu-Jitsu, they'd have looked at you like you were speaking
what's
like
that?
crazy.
Karate,
They wouldn't have known exactly.
Yeah,
Even when I started in sort of like, I started in 2014. Even then, like if I told my friends and stuff, what's that?
Yeah.
What is, and you tell them, I'd sort of tell them like judo, just to give them a bit
of understanding. But it's difficult to. Nowadays, it's not the same. I think everyone's seen UFC or grappling, some sort of grappling. But yeah, but like in 1994, I had 3 big gyms, like less than 10-minute walk from my house.
It's mad.
So I had great options already, like back then. But you see like how it was popular, especially in the zone, the area where we live. So yeah, it was really cool. They had so many options and amazing instructors as well.
I bet. And I'm assuming back in the day, you tell me, was it all gi stuff?
Yeah, it was. Look, it was all gi. But for example, like the gym I started, don't know if you heard Murilo Bustamante. He was already in UFC, and he was already training a lot of no gi. So we already had a bit of contact with no gi. Right. I did as a kid. I didn't train no gi at all, but I could see the guys training at the gym. And then later when I move on, HCC, the gym I moved, the head coach of the gym, he won in 98 and 99 HCC twice. So, we had a bit of contact, but it took me years to train no-gi for the first time.
Yeah, because as I said, even when I started, it was still very kind of like you just did a little bit of no-gi. It wasn't like today I turned up here, you're teaching a class, it's all no-gi, right? Obviously there was no-gi classes when I started already, but it wasn't the same.
No, definitely not. I could see the same sport, but split in 2 different sports. They're very similar, the rules similar, but very different as well. But how they become very popular and how the no-gi is growing so fast as well,
Yeah, of course.
So,
I bet. And when was it how long into Jiu-Jitsu was it that you started where it was right, this is my life now, this is what I'm doing?
It was a while, man. I was because I trained in the start, I didn't like much in the start. I think it was just more, for fun, like I said, all the cool kids would train. The older friends from the neighborhood where they were training. So it was and I didn't know. You go the first months, you just get beaten up. I don't know what's happening,
Yeah.
But I would have fun. I would go with my friends, a group of friends from school. So, but I think when I was purple belt, I think then I was you know what, I have to, people ask, what do you want to do for a living? I was maybe I want to have my own gym and teach Jiu-Jitsu. It was just
cool, man.
Something cool, easy probably, something that I had fun doing, but it took me a long time to believe that it was possible,
Because when you said you was training with Murilo Bustamante, right?
Yeah,
he was UFC champion as well. So
yeah,
it's like
he became champion not like when I was there, like a bit after I left, or like maybe after, but he was like getting into UFC and started, I think his first fight, second fight, and then like obviously later he became champion. But yeah, it was like around that time.
Yeah, and was it on your mind to do UFC? Sorry, I
No,
sound like
no.
casual. Was it MMA?
No, I thought a few times, but like I did. Then I jumped into Muay Thai and boxing, and like, not that I didn't like it much, but I then I was into Jiu Jitsu so much, and like I don't want to miss. I wouldn't change it like a Jiu Jitsu session, like 2 sessions a day for like 1 Jiu Jitsu and 1 striking. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, you know. So yeah, never crossed my mind.
Never
Then later I was like, you know, when I was here, I almost took a fight, but I'm glad I didn't took the fight, you know, because I wasn't gonna be ready, you know. I could be lucky and maybe get a takedown and submit, but in reality, I wasn't ready, so I'm glad I didn't take it.
I understand, yeah, because back then as well, '94, it was very separate, right? Even though UFC was already around, it was still separate. Like when my background was boxing, so when I started doing some grappling and stuff, like not even like coaches, forget it, but like even people I was training with was like, what the fuck, you know, what is that, you know? But you know, if you don't know till you know, dude, it's a different world now, obviously. Yeah. But when you sort of training jiu-jitsu and you start taking it serious, did you stay in Rio or was you sort of traveling around for places?
Yeah, no, I was traveling a lot in Brazil to compete. Yeah. You know, like trying to convince my parents that was something I could do it for a living. Okay. You know, like I think like my father, you know, he wasn't probably his favorite option for me, but like he always supported me, you know. And my mom wasn't very happy. She was like, wow, he's gonna travel to compete, and you know, like what's gonna give you like as a future? What's gonna be your future? Like you should be studying and spending the weekend studying. And I was like, Mom, it's what I want to do. You know, my friends, we travel. Obviously, it's like cool to travel around 10 hours by bus, 12 hours to go and compete in a different town. So we used to love it. And like my father always knew that maybe it wasn't his option or something he would like, but he see that I was happy and like, you know, why not support and see where this takes him or where this goes. So yeah, it was very cool. And then I was like, I started telling, one day I'm going to have my own gym, I'm going to open and people would laugh like, yeah, come on.
Oh, really? It wasn't like a thing? Even in Brazil, it wasn't big?
I mean, no, it was big, but I think like, especially in Brazil, it was seen like as it's different, you know, like, you should be a lawyer, you should be a doctor, you know, like this profession that you have like a more safe,
boring life.
Exactly, sitting off. But I always knew that I seen my brothers and my sisters, they had to work. My father had some stores, like he was business. And then I was like, I would never want to do what they're doing.
Right.
So I knew what I didn't want to do it, you know. Yeah. So it was like, it was good for me to see like, okay, there's this path, so I want to take my own. And like it was tough because no one would believe much or trust like this would be something that would give me a future or I could make a living of it. Because especially like in Brazil, it was hard. There were so many gyms and so many like famous and experienced black belts teaching. So they're like, how are you going to compete with these guys? You know?
Right. Yeah, who are you type thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it was difficult. And even like, I would question myself like, man, maybe I'm dreaming too much. And like, maybe it's like, I just need to get a regular job, go work in the office from 9 to 5 p.m. Like, no, but then I knew I didn't want to do it. Yeah. So,
well, I'm glad you did, man, because look at the walk. It seems like it's working out okay.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's true.
And like, just like fast forwarding a bit, obviously, we're at this gym now. Like I used to come here a lot before the pandemic for wrestling. Okay. So with Josh, Big Josh, I just saw him outside.
Yeah.
Great coach. And like,
great coach, great guy.
Going to start coming down and training with him again. But, you know, it's one of them places that I go to different gyms and stuff, and I've been lucky. Lots of people I've had on the podcast so far. Everyone's very welcoming, you know, like the gyms, and it's more the good gyms, they're all welcoming. They're come train and, you know, do your thing. Whereas back in the day, like we won't mention any names, but in London, there's been gyms you turn up to and they're like, £10, Matt's over there. And it's like, bro, fuck me. Come on, we don't need that, do we? Like,
we don't need that, man. It's like, come on, this is like, it's good. People say about it, like, I always had welcomed everyone. And a lot of people that I welcome now train here because they prefer, or they liked it, or they see like, so, you know, like, it's just an opportunity to meet someone else and then grow your community, you know, like make friends with other people from other clubs, other teams, you know. So I think this is part of the beauty of our sport as well, you know.
But that's how it should be, innit? You know, I mean, you
think
should go
so.
to
I always
places and we
believe
should
that.
be, you know, we're in
I always
this
believe
together
that.
in some way. Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, obviously, you go to with the cold gyms you go to, you just think you leave, don't you? You think, fuck
You don't
that,
feel,
know?
yeah.
I had good sparring, but who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? I don't want to go back.
I tell my students, a lot of people, like, you know, London people leave quick, come and go. And they're like, where should I go? It's like, look, I can tell you, like, go to this place. But, like, there will be a few gyms around you. Go to all of them, see where you feel better, where you like it more. And that's how it should be as well.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think
where
so.
you feel, like, better, where you feel home. So, yeah.
But you're one of the guys as well, and there's many as well now. It's not rare anymore, which is good. But like, you're one of the guys that everyone always seems to speak highly of. You know, people I've spoke
that's
to,
cool.
you know,
Thank
which is great. So it's nice to meet you. And today, like,
Thank
I turn
you.
up. I've never met you before, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like you welcome me and you let me come
Straight
in.
away, yeah,
Straight
yeah.
away, big
Cool
hugs
vibe,
and whatnot,
yeah.
and it's good. You know, like I've been lucky to have Daniel Terry who teaches.
Ah,
here,
that is
right?
amazing
Who's a
guy. We're
great
lucky
guy,
to
right?
have him as a coach here as well.
he's
His
great,
family,
man.
all the family trains
Yeah.
here, and like, it's great.
Because his son trains as well, young
Yeah,
Kane.
yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to Kane. I haven't seen
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Last
yeah.
time I saw him, I was teaching a class. He was like 9, and he used to come to class. Like,
Yeah,
but he
he's
didn't know it was
almost
an
an
adults
adult
class.
now.
He didn't know it was an adults class. So I used to sort of, I knew him because I kind of took him to the side to keep him away from the heavy guys, right? And just did
Yeah.
little bits and pieces. And now you look at him, fuck, he might have
He's
to
a
look
beast,
after me
man.
soon.
yeah. I always tell the guys, look, you see them, these kids, you treat them well because at some point they're gonna remember who bullied them, who didn't who treat them well, and they're gonna be nice to you after, you know. So it's like he's one of them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great people,
Great
good
guy.
vibes and stuff. But if we fast forward a bit, man, like when you first came to London,
Okay.
what brought you here?
I was coming to Europe. I finished my university, got my degree. This was like one of the reasons I was able. My parents allowed me to come. They said, "Look, you have to finish your university, and then you can try do your own gym, do whatever you want,
Right.
but get your degree, and then it's up to you."
Okay.
And I started with business, and then I changed to advertisement. But I always knew like it wasn't
Just to
gonna
show
be
your mum and dad.
exactly. So it's like, you know, it took me a while to get it done. But then I had a ADCC in Spain, where I was like part of Leo Vieira's camp, which was like one of the best experience for me. In Brazil, we done the camp, and they're like, okay, we go to watch the ADCC in Spain. And because of that, I kind of organized the schedule to come to Europe. And London wasn't in the schedule at all, because I always thought I wasn't gonna like London because of the weather. It's like people say, oh, it's 3 p.m. and it's like in the winter it's like already dark. I was like, man, I'm from Rio, you know. Like I train, I go to the beach, I hang out, and then I go back and train a bit more. So it's like no. And then I was gonna compete in Sweden, but then I had a few days that I didn't have any plans between Sweden and go back to Brazil. So. And then the owner of Fight Factory, Luis, he was in Brazil at the time. He's like, oh, you're going to Europe? Like, what are your plans? Do you come and spend a few days in London? You can come and train, teach a few classes for me. And then I was like, yeah, okay, I'll come, you know. And I came for a week. And then we went to Sweden, so it was in between. I came for a week. And then I really liked, because I was sleeping in the gym. And we were training during the day, you know, like, and I was hanging out with some of the guys, you know. So I was just like training and teaching and doing pretty much that all day. And then I was like, you know, it's like, I can get used to this weather, you know, so the London is different, completely different to what I was used to. And then I was like, you know what, I like it, I like here. So it was time for me to go back to Brazil. And as I didn't have any plans to anything any ties there in Brazil, Luis said, look, why don't you stay for 3 months, see how it goes, see if you like. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I just changed my flights, changed my ticket, and then I stayed for 3 months. And then that's it. I was like, I love London. It's like, man, I don't care about the beach anymore. You know, like, yeah. Because I think it's a develop. It's like you get more mature. You think, oh, I need this to live. No, you can adapt. The most important thing was Jiu Jitsu, you know, for me. So I was living Jiu Jitsu 100% daily. So I think like I ignored the fact that I didn't have more the good weather and the beach and my friends to be like, you know, like living what I wanted to live. So yeah, it was like, that was the first experience in London, and then it was time for me to go to Brazil in the end of 2009, and then like the last 2 days I met my wife now. So we met, and then like we kept in touch, and then Luis invited me to come back like 4 months later. Like, come back, I'll give you a job, you start teaching for me like 3 times a week, and you train and you do all this stuff. I was like, I'm coming. Oof. So I came back straight away, and that's like, then I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay here and see how long I'm gonna stay, see what's gonna happen, you know. So that was the start.
But it seems like it worked out, bro.
It worked out really good, for sure.
That's cool, man. And your wife's English or Brazilian?
No, she's Spanish.
She's Spanish, okay, cool. Yeah, so you're over here moving-wise. How was that easy was it easy, I mean, in terms of coming over? Or was it like a bit of an ordeal? Because like moving abroad, I don't know how that works.
Man, at that time, I didn't think about it. I just told my parents, look, I'm leaving, you know. And they're like, well, where are you gonna leave? It's like, oh, I'm living in the gym. I'm gonna sleep in the gym.
Wow.
So, you know, like it was cool for me because it was like me and like a few other guys that would live there. So, man, we would hang out all day, just train.
How old are you at that time?
I was 28.
Yeah, so that's cool.
So, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, and that was like good for me. I stayed, and yeah, man, I don't regret a single bit of it, you know, like it was really good. Then I was like really enjoying here, and then I moved with my girlfriend at the time. I left the gym. Yeah. I started
got a real place.
Like 10 minutes away from the gym, so I could walk.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, but that was really good. That was like really good memories. But I remember my parents came to visit me once, and like the mat was like, let's say like just like a little square, was like just the little mat, and then I came to showed her the gym around, and like that was my corner, you know, like we had sleeping bags. I was like, and she's like, oh, where do you sleep? I was like, that's my bed. She's like, where? There, that's my corner. We just take the sleeping bags out. Yeah, the bag is there, and she's like, oh my God, my son. Yeah. But I was like, Mom, I'm loving it. Don't worry, it's all cool. And she's like, she saw like she's like, we left you and see how happy you was, you know. So she was fine. She was like, you know what, he's happy and like it's good for him. So.
But it's great, and you hear them stories a lot in Jiu Jitsu, don't you? I slept on the mats, I cleaned the mats, and all that kind of stuff. And now you're successful. It's like it's cool, isn't it? You know.
But you gotta. I think you gotta go through that. You know, like it's more rewarding. I think you gotta go through the stage. You know, like same to open here. Like we started with a little space. We'll get to this part maybe later, but like we had to like destroy there was like a few rooms in the downstairs we had to like destroy, and like so we really worked to get the place opened as well. Obviously I didn't paint, we didn't like lay the mats, but like we worked so hard to open it that it was really cool when it was open, and like we see like the hard work and get things ready and then see people coming. This was very rewarding as well. Like it's you value more the things, I think.
Of course, yeah, I think so. But where was the original? Was this the original place?
No, this is like, this building, we're like in 2 buildings, right? This is like the building we got after.
Yeah.
Because we started like on the first floor on the other building, just the first floor. We started there and we had 2 mats at the time. So we had like me teaching Jiu Jitsu on one mat, and the boxing and the Muay Thai Jose teaching striking on the other side. And that was how we started. That's how we started, you know, like 2 small mats, not big mats, but 2 good matted area. But then it was like really challenging for me because I'm very annoying teaching, you know, like I like the technique, the details, everything, and like explain. And then at the same time I was explaining, it was like, pop, 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 pop. And then I was like, oh my God, that's not the gym I dreamed for myself, you know, like oh no, it's like, and it was very noisy when you're trying to explain. And
striking's noisy, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was like, guys, we need to find a way to move them and do like just jiu-jitsu here and then striking on the other side. And then obviously with time we grew a bit, the gym started growing. And then we managed to get the 2nd floor from the other building, from the original first building. And then we got lucky later that this building was attached, but it's completely 2 different landlords. But it was available, and they're like, okay, it's another chance to grow a bit, so that's where we moved here. But it's just this part came 5 years ago.
Yeah, because I think this place, when I used to train, it was just before the pandemic, and I think this was like maybe they was talking about it and it wasn't here yet or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
No, man, this building was here empty for a long time, and we were like, wow, we want this building. All this building is so good, but we couldn't find the people that was like that rented or owned the building.
It's
like
crazy, isn't it?
it was empty and nothing happening, because we had someone that used to, like, there was a coffee grinder like a coffee roastery downstairs. It's just very small, and the guy used to train with us, and he said, look, the building's empty and there's nothing going on. I was like, wow, we need this building. And then these company Ozone, they open, and then they lease the floor to available, and we're like, okay, that's it, we need it. Because we needed a bit more space as well, you know. And we had like class with 70, 80 people in one mat before pandemic.
Which is nuts, by the way,
it's
isn't it?
crazy. Yeah, I had like before the pandemic, we got here in 2019 at the end, November. So from November to March 2020, where was when we had to close, I had a class here with 92 people.
Fucking
These mats.
Madness, yeah.
Madness, you know. But I was really cool because no one cared about booking system, about anything. And I just knew because we had a picture and I counted, you know, but no one cared. It was 100, 90, 50, you know, like people just turn up and train. After things changed in our booking system and, you know, like changed a bit, become more, it's a bit better to control, but I think things changed so much after, you know, pandemic, and they're like more control a bit. People like to know and book their spot. But yeah, it's like, but we're really grateful it was really lucky as well that we had opportunity to grow in the same building without having to move, because every time maybe you move 5 minutes down, then maybe it's enough for people to stop coming, you know?
It is, yeah.
So we could grow in the same place and just become bigger. That was good. It's lucky as well.
And this place now, for anyone who doesn't know, you know, maybe we get some pictures, but like, if you left me here now and you know, by myself, turn the fucking lights down and stuff, I'd probably get lost in here for about the next hour. Like, this place is fucking massive now, isn't it? You know what I mean? And what's the vision for the future now? You want to keep growing, or you want more gyms?
Look, we opened a gym in Spain, you know, like almost 3 years now. And obviously there is like slower, it's different, but it's growing. We're like on 500 and few members, so it's really good as well. Here in London, the only issue for me opening a new one is like, I don't want to open something close.
Yep.
You know, but I don't want to open something far away that's going to take me from here, you know, like where my kids are here, like the kids that we invest a lot of time, the kids that we invest a lot in the kids with the future, you know. So I think like I wouldn't want to spend 3 days in another gym and 3 days here. I wouldn't want to like stop being here like the whole week, which I think makes the whole difference for the business to grow and for things to run smoothly. It's like you gotta be here every day.
Yeah.
You know, like making sure everything is working. I have a great team to help me. Or without them, we wouldn't be where we are, you know. So, but I think it's important to be here every day, see how things go, like make sure everyone is like safe and training, and you know, like the environment and everything is positive.
That's cool, man. Yeah, well, it's checkmat, obviously.
Yeah,
over here, but maybe it's not on the camera. But checkmat was you checkmat from the start? Yeah,
I was. We were Braza before. We were Alliance. You know, we were Alliance, and then with Alliance, we become Braza. My coaches became Braza, you know, and then from Braza we became Checkmat. So it was like I followed the coaches as the team changed, you know. Nice. But I was one of the first black belt from Checkmat, because the team was established in 2008. So obviously the first black belts, me and a few people got graded. So we were the first Checkmat black belts because it was a brand new team. But it was very successful since the start, you know, and very proud to represent Checkmat and Vieira Brothers.
Nice,
sure.
That's cool. What age was you when you got your black belt?
27.
Right, okay,
yeah.
Nice. So long time black belt now. Fucking hell, you know, obviously 4th degree, we said at the start. But the reason I bring up Checkmat is like I've been in Checkmats in different parts. I'm sure they're all connected, right? I've been
for sure.
In Berlin, I don't know if you know.
Marcos in Fightzone or Rodrigo.
No, Rodrigo.
He's
been on here. He's a great guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool guy. And the other one, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Okay.
Which is a cool place. It's a really mad one for anyone who's been there. It's like it's in the football stadium, and in the football stadium at the time, I don't know if it's the same now, but Levski Sofia.
Okay.
They had 3 gyms in the stadium. So there was a Jiu Jitsu, an MMA, and I think it was either another MMA or a boxing or something. But there was loads. It was crazy in there. And you go in there, and it's like fuck are we going? And then you go in this mad gym and there's like
Crazy.
a check mat. Oh, you know, it's crazy.
I didn't know. I'm not aware of that. That's really cool.
It was cool. And like the guy, I think put us onto it, is the guy Pedro from here, Pedro Garcia. He's a check mat black belt.
Okay.
And yeah, great guys, great times I've had like on check mat guys. I'm not that I'm a check mat guy. I'm trying to claim check mat. I'm new school to the bone, guys. But yeah, but always good
maybe
times,
second home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do they call it? Like affectionate friends.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
cool. That's cool.
But yeah, so with the future of this place, is this like, what's your vision for this particular place?
This particular place, look, I wish we had another matted area available, like attached or like.
I can see a few buildings, bro. There might be.
Yeah, I mean, if there is like, obviously, if there is a chance for us to like move to a space that is bigger, we would love to. You know, like I would like to do like us. We always dream fight zone city, gym zone, or, you know, city zone where we have like barbershop, coffee shop, like a lounge, like massage area, treatment room. You know, like.
Yeah.
And all the matted area for everyone, you know, like more place for us to hang out, like community as well, for people to hang out a bit in between training or like after training, you know. Because what we struggle with is like we need matted area because we had like coffee shop, we had like a gear shop, but they all take mat space.
Yeah.
And what we need is mat space because everything else is like, is not like what people really want. I mean, having a coffee shop was good, having the shop was good, but it's like took so much space that is more like, if you can have 10 people more in the class, and the classes are getting busier and busier and busier, so you need physical space more than like coffee, which is like something secondary for us, you know?
Yeah.
So if I could find like a 20,000 square feet building, that would be the dream for
That's
sure.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Because when you say that, like the place like the barbershop and the coffee and all that kind of stuff like that's cool, and it gives the environment like to hang out all day, doesn't it?
Exactly. More like, because a lot of people train in the morning, and then they still come back later, you know, like and train a bit more. Like not everyone, but we have a lot of guys that compete and do it like seriously. So if they could spend and go hang out a bit, have a coffee, you know, like, and then they could be drilling more, spending more time in the mat as well, instead of having to go home. Or sometimes if they go home, they don't come back, or if they stayed here, you know. So we have sauna, plunge, you know, so all these things that would be really cool. But the most important for me is like the matted area anyway, always, you know, so it's really difficult to find. We almost moved a while ago to a post office, but it was like in a location we didn't like, and it would be a bit further away from here, but it was like 20,000 square feet, which is like the dream.
Is that
like
right?
to
That's
have
the
like,
golden number, 20,000.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I got you, yeah. And with what was the thinking when you started straight away with striking and stuff? Because obviously you're a jiu-jitsu guy, but was it automatically MMA and you wanted to build it from there?
Yeah, it was always the idea, have everything, you know, because one thing I learned is, obviously jiu-jitsu is my main thing, but get people through the door. And because of that, when I used to work at Fight Factory, I see how many people would come with no intention of doing jiu-jitsu or not even having a clue what jiu-jitsu was.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, but they would come to do like Muay Thai or boxing, you know, but then they would keep looking at jiu-jitsu and see how much fun people had in the mat and how people were having fun, and like it was always the busiest class, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like I think a lot of people I knew were switched from just striking or just maybe conditioning to start training jiu-jitsu, and then like they've been doing jiu-jitsu for years, you know. So I always knew like this was a way to get people through, is like to obviously have more classes to run the gym and pay the bills, and like, you know, more members, not just jiu-jitsu. Because I think jiu-jitsu is obviously our main thing, but it's also like, it's cool to have the Muay Thai guys, the boxing guys, the wrestling guys, everyone, and it's like a big community. Even though like people come and there's not like a lot of mix. The boxing guys don't do jiu-jitsu. The Muay Thai guys rarely do jiu-jitsu. Some of them, majority of kids, they do everything. They're different like communities, but we have everyone under one roof. And I think this is really cool. Plus the part where a lot of people that came from Muay Thai, boxing, and now they are jiu-jitsu members, they like been training for many years, you know. So this is really cool. And this is like makes the jiu-jitsu bigger as well, you know. So this was always one of the reasons I wanted to have open as well for other martial arts.
Yeah, and it's cool, like you said, you touched on it there with kids, right? Because nowadays, like when I was a kid, like kids weren't doing everything. It was a bit more like if someone did one thing, that was their thing. They was that guy, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Whereas now
maybe twice a week, once twice
exactly.
a week.
Whereas now kids start everything together, don't they? And going back to Daniel Terry's son, Canha.
The kids start. They have class. They have 2 classes a day from Monday to Saturday.
A day.
A day, yeah. So we have kids that are here from Monday to Saturday. Every day, twice they have 2 classes at least. So, and we just started like a competition like schedule for them that the competitors train every day for an hour and a half. So, you know, like they've been training serious like every day during the week, and it's amazing to see that some of them, they're not like playing on phones or playing video games. They're like, they would love being here.
Yeah.
And their attitude is great. They're like, and you see how cool is that? Like, hopefully, obviously, maybe in the future, not all of them will keep training. There's so many things that direction, the path they take, but I love the fact that they compete and they go through this challenge so early. And I think even though if they don't keep training jiu-jitsu, they're gonna have like they're gonna be prepared for the challenge later, like for a job interview or for, you know, the life challenge ahead. And so that's why we want to give them like great opportunity and support for them to develop, and, you know, and having them here every day is like you said before, it was like once or twice a week they'll come, and, you know, but they are really into it. There's like a group of 20 kids there, like they take it seriously. So it's really cool, like 7, 8 years old already, like taking martial arts
so
seriously.
cool to
really
see
cool.
it. Yeah.
Really
because
cool.
I'm like, as I say, I'm in it long enough now. There's people I've trained with, like started jiu-jitsu the same time as me, but I was, you know, a young man and they were fucking 7. Do you know what I mean? And now they're like, you're looking at them now, you're going, whoa, you're watching them get these high belts and stuff. I actually trained with a girl, I think she's black belt under you, Nia Blackman.
Oh yeah,
of course. Like, Nia was new school before, and she was like, I knew when I started. I don't know, maybe I don't know how old she is now, but when I started, she was
20,
young.
yeah.
So 20, so she would have been like 10, 11. Do you know what I mean? Like
they become beasts, man.
Crazy to see. Like you see her now, like black belt, doing all this crazy shit, and like another one. I don't know if you're aware of him, Stefan Dabija. He's a purple belt, 18 years old. Shout out Stefan, because I gave him some stick on a podcast once. I told him he's I can't remember the word I used, but I gave him some whatever.
Where does he train?
He trains Los Benditos. He trains, I think, New School a bit. He trains a bit all over the place. He trains with Charles Allen Price and stuff for strength and conditioning. Owen O'Flanagan, all these guys. You know, he's in that kind of camp. Great kid, because I gave him some stick on a podcast before. I called him sausage and all that, but he's
sausage.
I'm obviously joking. He's a great kid, you know, and like now a monster, you know. He's
you've seen him like
he used to come to a wrestling class I taught when he was like 13, 14. You know, like a little happy, smiley kid. And now you look at him now, he's like a fucking tank, and he's winning everything. Them, you know? But the reason I bring him up especially is because
character.
Great kid, do you know what I mean? And not kid, obviously, I don't say that to be condescending.
But but you see like...
He's 18 years old, 19, whatever he is, but he's just, he does it right, do you know what I mean? He trains the right way, new people come in, like, they don't know what he is, right? And he does it the right way. He'll let them know how good he is, but he flows, he plays nice, you know what I mean? He doesn't smash people. And when you see, like, from a kid to that, because I know kids now that are like 10, 11 on the mats, and you know when you look at kids sometimes, and you see a lot of kids on the mat, but every now and then you see one and you go, that might be 1 in 10 years' time to be fucking killing people, you know?
Gotta go easy on this one now. There's so many. You recognize, you see, because like, it's their attitude as well. Like, I think like, when they're competing or when they're like training, you know, doing sparring, you see like, it's the attitude they bring to the fight or to the mat that in that age, I think is like, determines like, how good they're gonna be, or like if they're gonna win a match or not. Their attitude is like their confidence as well. And you see like kids 7, 8 years old with so much confidence already, looking so mature and composed in a match. This is like, you see adults that don't have the same.
Exactly, because that's a big part of it as well. I'm assuming for a kid, right? You tell me, obviously you coach much more than me, is like when a kid comes in and he's just happy and enjoying it, that goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You see like, this kid is like gonna go far, you know.
And with you, like I'm assuming you've given black belts to kids that started with you when they was a white belt.
Yeah, I have a few that
What's
started.
that like? Because that's amazing.
It's really cool. I had guys that came and like, and didn't have, you know, like they come and just like join, and they just come with no like intention of, you know, much, just, oh, I just want to train and learn. And then you see how they change, how they become more confident, you know. Guys that told me like I couldn't look at my boss in the face, and now like I look him in the eyes, and like I have confidence to even to speak to him. You know, I have guys that joined the first time and they like, you know, they didn't even have a clue what they were doing. They're like, what is Jiu Jitsu? And they stayed, they kept going. Now they're like brown and black belts. And so, you know, so it's really good. And I have a group that started like with 12, 13, and now they are black belts, and like they beat me up.
Yeah.
Like, it's very cool, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
No,
nice.
but I enjoy it because I take it like as a blessing, you know, to see like how much these kids change and they become like now adults with good skills, and like, but also like respectful, you know, like they go easy on me as well. Like, thank you.
But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? You see when you look around the thing. But even like kids that have been doing it, I know some that have been doing it sort of 4 years or whatever. And when they started, they weren't babies, but they were like, you know, 14 or whatever, 15. And now they're young men. And it's just like
they have the skills of a black belt.
That's it, exactly. Because when they've learnt it technically as a kid, right? There's a few kids on the mat in Cheam, especially. Shout out young Alex, you know who you are. He's, you know, he's one of them kids. I think he's 16, 17. He's a blue belt already, but he's like, you know, tall, lean. And, you
How
know,
long
like,
has he been training for? 10 years.
No, I mean, well, he's a special case. That's why I bring him up. Okay. He hasn't been training very long, but he's one of them kids that just gets it, you know, just really cool. But he hasn't got like his man's body yet, you know. He's tall. He's like 6'3" or whatever, but he's like, you can see in a few years.
Just give him time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
and he's technical.
Time.
Like I've brought it up on here before, but I'll say it. Why not? He was. I was on, you know, side control and whatever, and he started putting a buggy choke on me. I was like, you cheeky motherfucker. You motherfucker, you know, doing
like
this
it.
to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. It's because nowadays, like, especially like, I'm sure you're the same, when you see coaches coaching people, it's more of an open-minded sort of situation. Like, the people aren't stopping kids doing stuff anymore, you know? Like, kids do some mad shit on the mats now, and they make it work.
Yeah, look, there's like, obviously you see the level. I was watching, we had the Kids Europeans two weekends ago, 2.5 weeks ago. And it was like in a smaller venue than last year. Last year was in Dublin, it was a bigger venue. And this year was in a smaller venue in Lisbon, in Portugal. And I think that made it a bit easier for a lot of kids from Brazil come as well. But when I walked in, I went past the warm-up area, and like I started paying attention on the kids, and they were doing some mad things, like things that like an adult sometimes don't have the coordination to do it and the skills to do it. And they were like warming up, doing some rolling backflip chokes. I was like, wow, you teach them and they can do it. You know, like obviously I have like, I don't start teaching them from the start, like rolling berimbolos and stuff. But it's also proven that you can teach whatever you want, and these kids, they like it, that they are good, they will pick so easy. And you can feed them whatever you want, like daily, on new things or like strategies or concepts or techniques, more fluid, more fancy or more basic. And man, they will get it straight away. And
why is that? Is that just because it's fun for them and they just have to play?
I think so. I think like, obviously some of them, they're already born with understanding, with body coordination, with, you know, like for sports, you know. And then in sports, I think there are so many different sports, but like in grappling is so much body awareness I think they need. And you see like some kids just have it. I see like, I have a kid here, he's 12, I think. And he just knows how to position himself, his body, and like when people do good things against him, like how he reacts. It looks like where he knows where he put his pieces, his body everywhere. And it's like, he's just like flowing technique. You know, so it's like, some of them already born with it, you know. You can sharp, you can like polish, like some of the kids that are good, that are tough, you know, but some kids are like, for example, Mika Galvão. Some guys that, you know, like that kid is amazing, you know, like you just need to give him, feed him, and like let him like basically like go with his talent and go, you sharp, you polish here, you teach him a few things. But some kids are just born with the talent, with the feeling, man. And I think Jiu-Jitsu is a lot of feeling, you know, feeling, timing obviously, but feeling is very important, and some of them just like amazing.
Yeah,
So,
I can see that too. And one of the things I'm big on as well is like I see it a lot is like sometimes you can overcoach people, can't you? You know, some coaches do too much coaching. Sometimes you do have to kind of like.
But I think this happen. I think like this comes with experience, and you like, you know, like after a while you understand like you don't need to keep saying much. But there are people that need, depend on the athlete, they need a bit more confidence and like a bit more talking behind. But this comes with time in coaching and you and the relationship you build with the athlete as well, knowing each other, know what strengths and weakness maybe, you know. And some people need a bit more talking, some people don't need. You just need, look, 2 minutes, 1 minute, you know. Depend, each person is different, you know. But I think like, the more experienced you are and a good understanding between you and your students' game, and it becomes an easier relationship. It becomes like a easier coaching situation where you don't have to say much, or you just say change the side you're passing, or change the grip or something like that, you know. But I also think like in the start you wanna some people wanna maybe show much knowledge or stuff, and then they talk so much. And I think I used to talk more than I talk now. So I think I'm more experienced now, you know. So, you know, it can be that, but it's also like, can be like the relationship they have or the need that each athlete have, and the coach understanding of what need they have or what confidence they need, you know. So I think this varies a lot, depends a lot on coach and student as well.
Yeah, well in Jiu-Jitsu, and not just Jiu-Jitsu, I think combat sports in general, you become close to your coach, don't you? You know what I mean? There's a closeness.
That's why
between.
a lot, of course. Like we go through good and bad times together, you know, to win, to defeat, victory, you know, like losing badly, winning, great fashion, or winning by one ref decision, a close call. But all these create bonds, you know, like big bond with you and the coach and the student, you know, like traveling together, like going through cut weight process, you know, dieting, eating this or that, or, you know, all this. And they need a lot of mental like support. Sometimes like they just need you to tell them, to assure them like it's fine, you're ready, you know. Each one is different, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like, and also having a good feeling to understand like sometimes what they need, sometimes they just, like I said, they just need like, hey, you're fine, you trained, you're ready, you know. Or some of them need like, no, come on, let's go. You like slap them a bit and push them a bit more, you know,
it's true.
to fire them up a bit. Each one of them need a bit. I remember like, because you have the experience as coaching, but as a student, I remember like one of my coaches before, because I was never aggressive, you know. I was always like the more chilled guy, pull guys, relax, you know, keep like there, waiting, like attacking or moving. And my coach, before I walk in, he's like, Canha, come here. And I came like very, you know, like I knew he never done it to me, but I knew he done to other guys. And like I came like waiting to hear an instruction, and he just like, papa, slapped me in the face, papa. And I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, but he's like, you ready now? Go back. And then like he probably seen like I was like, you know, chilled. And sometimes you need to be fired up, you know. Like I'm never like, I'm not aggressive and be like, ugh. But sometimes you need something to fire you up, you know, like, and I had this experience, and it was good, like, okay, that was good, because, you know, like, I walked in a bit more, like, you know, prepared, not like waiting to see what's gonna happen. And then, like, you see, like, maybe this you have to use not like a slap in the face, but like use some ways to fire your students, you know, which can help them perform better for sure. You know, and with me, like as a black belt after, or it's either like someone said something silly, or like, you know, a guy slapped me in the face during the fight. And then like, I needed that to maybe make me a bit more aggressive. So I understand maybe the students will need a bit of fire up sometimes, you know, like to find their, you know, strength and like be a bit more aggressive.
Because it's important, isn't it? Like different personalities in big too. You can't train everyone the same. Like John Danaher spoke about this, didn't he? Like how you're sort of, I can't remember exactly, maybe someone will help me out, but like how your personality dictates your style too. Do you know what I mean? Your personality off the mat. And I'm a big believer in that.
Of course, I think so, definitely.
Yeah, because if you're, like you said, if you're that kind of guy that needs to be playful, because they're out there, aren't they? Some guys can just sleep on the mat, you tap them and go, it's your time, and okay, cool, yeah, and they're ready.
And they're ready.
Some guys
they're
need
sleeping.
To be. Yeah.
Man, I have friends that are sleeping like,
before
the match, 2 minutes before the match. I'm like, how can you go and still perform like that?
But some people you see as well, they're doing like a fucking circuit before, aren't they? They're doing like a million burpees.
Like with the last Polaris, my coach was there with me. There was a guy, he did like good 3 fights before his fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And my coach was like, I can't believe what this guy is doing. It's like, obviously it must work for him because, man, you know, but like, I would never do that myself. And each one of us need. But you also, I am a big believer that you need to try everything to see what you have a better result.
To know yourself.
I remember like before I didn't like much to warm up because I would say, no, I don't want to get tired. I want to save all my energy for the fight. But that was like, obviously when you're young, you can start going like from 0 to 100 quick, you know? Now, like you need to warm the engine, you gotta get ready, you know, so. But I remember like I went to compete like years ago and had one of the conditioning coach of my friend and he done the warm up for us. And it was the first time I did it. And we did like a crazy warm up before the fight and like I lost the fight and I started blaming. I said, I think that was warm up. But it was like, we done the warm up, but then after the warm up, I was coaching.
Right.
Till the moment they called me. So I think I walked into the fight with my mind like, you know, and I said I didn't like the way we warmed up, but that was great, and it's similar to what I do now. You know, like I look back, I was like, you know, maybe it wasn't the warm up, it was the fact that I was coaching and I was like emotionally attached to the fights there, and then I didn't think of myself, and when I walk in, I was like, a bit sloppy, I'd say, you know, like a bit like not focused, and as a black belt, you can't make mistakes. You can get away, but most of the time you won't get away.
Yeah.
So it paid off. So, you know, but then I was like, okay, you learn through experience and you're like, okay, now as like, man, 42, you need to warm up before you perform, you know, like.
You do, yeah.
So yeah, you learn a lot what you want to do it, what you don't want to do it. But I think like trying different things give you the opportunity as well to maybe add ways to prepare or avoid things to do. We all different, right? We all like to, some people like to not do anything 2 days before, and I always didn't want to do it 2 days before, just rest and like miss be hungry to compete, you know? But then after, like when I tried like a new program, I remember it was for like my last Polaris fight and I never fought 15 minutes before. And I did like one of the best conditioning trainings that I ever did. And on the night before, I was gonna compete on Saturday. On the night before, on Friday, the guy said, okay, so you're gonna do a 15-minute round. And I was like, what?
The night before the match?
Yeah. Oof. And I was like, and then he said, calm, let me explain. It's 10 seconds work, 50 seconds rest for 15 minutes.
Wow.
I was like, really? Man, I was like flying. I was like, just the 10 seconds, like, I want to fight now, you know, like, and I was ready. And I fought for 15 minutes, pushing the pace for 15 minutes. And then I learned, I was like, wow, if you told me I would never try that before the fight on Friday evening, I was like here in the gym drilling. Just 10 seconds, as fast as I could. 10 seconds worked, 50 seconds rest. So it was like 10 seconds every minute for 15 minutes. 16 it was. And I never felt so in better shape than I was like probably 37, 30, you know, like I wasn't young. And I felt in much better shape than when I used to be like 28, 30s, you know. So I learned, you give chance to try new things. You see how much you can, maybe I like that.
Yeah,
I never tried, but it worked good, you know. So I think it's important to give chance and try things to see which one feels better or like adapt better.
That's interesting. And what's your views on strength and conditioning? Because I've been blessed on here. I've had some strength and conditioning coaches that are really good and the stuff they say makes sense. And then I also know people that are real high level and they don't do anything. Like you're lucky if they do 5 push-ups. And it's like my theory on it, and I've said this before on here to the strength and conditioning coaches, is because they only do jiu-jitsu and their body's so adapted to jiu-jitsu, they're almost like they can get away with it. Whereas if they try to do something else, they'd probably get injured straight away. What do you think? I mean, am I somewhere around it there?
I think each case is different, you know. Like, for example, there's a few guys that they say that they don't do weights, but I can't understand who doesn't do weights nowadays, who is not training and doing. And I think like people realize it's not like obviously you want to be stronger, but it's the injury prevention that I think is even more important, especially when you get a bit older.
Yeah.
But people realize that they want their engine to keep working, so they can keep working, like getting paid to later when they get older, But I think it's really hard, like I think you have to do it as a prevention, I think it's very important. I never liked it, but now like I see the benefit and the how important it is, I always chose not the jiu-jitsu session than a weightlifting session, So obviously I think in technique wise, that helped me a lot, like an experience, and then like the time on the mats. It's the time where you're spending on the mats count a lot, But I think like there are some guys that they might not do much strength and conditioning, but at some point they're gonna realize they need it. And
that's what I feel like.
You see Meregali is like never did weights, but now he's lifting weights.
Now look at him,
You see like how he developed, how he's lifting, he's posting like lifting weights. And I don't see any other guy that is not, I don't know, maybe Mike Musumeci, I don't know which one of these successful guys that are like really high level that don't train, maybe Huotolo, I don't know if they don't do it.
And you never know, right? Sometimes these people say they don't, and then you look at their bodies
same as they're clean.
Yeah, exactly. You don't touch steroids. I don't know.
They don't do it every day, but I think like, man, people are preparing, like the information is there, like, and there's even, every time there's more, we see like how many good strength and conditioning coaches are helping and joining or becoming strength and conditioning coaches for grapplers.
Yeah.
That is something that they probably feel motivated to do as well. See, like, usually like grappling or martial artists, they like to train hard, they like to prepare seriously, and they probably enjoy preparing martial artists or fighters. They feel like rewarding to prepare. So a lot of good coaches helping. This has been a while, of course, but more and more you see in people like bringing coaches to help them.
Yeah.
I think this is just developing. What the technique and the strength is becoming very important as well.
Yeah. But it's better now as well, isn't it? Like back in the day, like strength and conditioning coach, you just do some like bad bodybuilding training.
It was the jiu-jitsu coach.
Yeah. Yeah, it teach you to lift weights.
Teaching you like a tough class, like a tough conditioning or like a workout, like very tough, but not like very a lot of science behind it, like
one more
results. Just kill yourself and that's it. If you're getting tired, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not like that, I think we developed a lot. And like this guy that I used to work from Brazil, he just sent me the program, and he talks a lot about that, like how before was like prepare you for a tough marathon. Like anyone can do that.
Yeah.
But you need to the techniques develop, the grappling is developed. So as the strength and conditioning needs to develop for the guys, there needs to be studies and science behind it.
And the reason you're doing it is to get better at your sport, right? To benefit, not
better.
to be like bench pressing more and stuff.
Exactly.
And I think the mistake people have made as well, and it's obvious, like looking at it now, is like, be tough mentally and stuff. But listen, if you're competing at a high level, you're tough anyway, innit? You know what I mean? You don't need that. You don't need that to prove yourself.
You already learned how to keep a focus and like a mindset, strong mindset that you gotta prepare. Even though like maybe the strength training is added to the schedule, but you still had to go to grueling grappling sessions to like, 100%. Specific training where sometimes you're in the middle and then 2-3 guys alternating and you in the middle. This is harder than you do weights against yourself, I think.
Of course, and that's the real conditioning, isn't it?
Exactly,
Conditioning's a dirty word too, do you know what I mean? Like all these, like back in the day, you used to see people like go from one station circuits, like kettlebells, burpee, like that seems
It's okay, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, of course, but it seems to die out now, doesn't it, at the top level guys? Because it's like...
But it's interesting you bring this now, because when I contacted this guy in Brazil, he was already working with a lot of famous guys. And my first contact with him was like, I've been doing just regular gym sessions, but I think this is not what I want to do. And he said, who told you that? He's like, I'm not going to tell you to do CrossFit. You're going to do like reps some days, like a lot of reps, some days short reps, and some days you're gonna do your cardio training. So it's all like,
it's worth it, yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, well, okay. So I had the mentality where like, oh yeah, you have to do like kettlebells and then, you know, like the circuit, that's what's gonna prepare you. But this is outdated. Like this was the first tough set training we used to do, you know. No, forget about that, you know. But that's how I learned. It was when I was able to fight for 15 minutes in like against someone that he was way stronger and physical than me, but I managed to recap for 15 minutes, and it was like, I was like, wow, this really works. And it's like, I was completely wrong one more time about conditioning.
But it's a nice feeling, isn't it, I find? You know, when you feel like you're wrong and there's like a new thing, like some people go, no, that doesn't work. But to me, like if you find something that makes you feel better, that's exciting, isn't it? It's like, fuck me, now I can
it's like you discover why, like obviously you can say, why I didn't do this earlier?
Yeah.
Why you didn't show me this before? But maybe it's you, or you know, it's opportunities or situations, but maybe it's you just comfortable and say, oh, this is fine for me, but not looking for something that can maybe make you do better. Or like, for example, it's completely new, like come on Friday evening before you compete to do drills. Like,
what? Yeah, you're crazy, man. Yeah.
But man, I was like, wow, you know, like feeling so good, so confident and in good shape, and like, okay, on Friday evening, I was like, I want to fight now, you know. So I think it was really good.
That's cool, innit? But obviously, with jiu-jitsu and stuff now, it's becoming more popular, innit? Like, and like you can see it everywhere, and the growth of the sport. So many people are doing it and like innovating with it, which makes it like. The reason I bring it up is more like with the open-mindedness of strength and conditioning. It works with jiu-jitsu too, doesn't it? Because like even in my time, I'm only sort of 10 years into jiu-jitsu, but even in my time, like when I started, and not my coaches, but sometimes you'd see like, you know, like that purple belt level teammate that was on the mat and you're a white belt, and they're sort of like, you know, they're teaching you things, but they're so close-minded. They're like, no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
But it's changed now, isn't it? Nowadays, everyone's
Nothing's wrong.
You see people now that are like high belts going to like beginners that do something and go, show me that little thing you did there.
Man, of course.
And it's amazing to see, isn't it?
I learned a lot of stuff from the lower belts, my students, because it's like you make the position strong, you know. It's like, oh, what's the best guard in jiu-jitsu? So like, well, you have to say one guard is the best. No, you make the guard strong. You see Mika Galvão using close guard as like the best guard in the world. And, you know, so this is really, it's up to you and your mind to keep open, you know, because I remember having two very famous coaches like saying, one say, I don't do this because it's wrong. And then the other guy say, no, but that's wrong. You should do this. It was like, wait, but both of you guys are very successful and it works very well for both. This was like a very, I'm not going to mention names here, but one of them was Damian Maia. You know, like,
wow.
So I was like, I was always listening to this wrong. And then Damian said, no, this. I was like, okay. Okay, so both are correct.
And this Damian Maia guy, is any good at jiu-jitsu or not?
Yeah, I think so, right? I think so. So that opened my mind because I was like, wow. And he wasn't even in UFC at the time. Wow. He was like the
pure jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu guy and ADCC.
Yep.
He was very like, he was very successful, gi and no gi. So I was like, wait a minute. Well, then maybe like there can be both. Both can. It was the day that opened my mind. I said, no, it's not just one thing. And I was purple belt, you know. And I was like, okay. So that, man, it was a big click in me that like stopped believing in just one thing. And nowadays you see like people using, and even like guys, for example, like black belts breaking down purple belts technique. And you're like, wow, that's really cool, you know, like that. You don't need to, I just learned from someone in my belt, higher belt than me, more experienced than me. You can learn something. I learned now he's a brown belt, but he started developing, it's like, as soon as he got his purple belt, he developed a choke. He let people smash him and he just keep waiting. He's like, think he's like almost asleep under you. And then when the guy's smashing him and the guy either tap or sleep. And it's impressive. And he get in competition like everyone that fights him first time get caught in it. Yeah. Black belts when sometimes come visit and they're like, what the fuck? And you're like, man, it's jiu-jitsu, it works, you know, like, and it's the beauty of the sport.
Because that's an interesting point as well. Two things on that. When I remember when I was a white belt, somebody said something, and I don't even know who it was, I don't even remember, but someone asked somebody on the mat, is that right the way I do it? He said, did it work? He said, yeah, then it's right. If it works, it's right.
If it works,
and
it's
right. And it stuck with me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's interesting to go down that road, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people that do, like you said, especially like back in the day, was like, no, that's not right.
But I think everyone like, information is there and like you see so much and then you see like everyone's doing like, okay, maybe it's like that was bullshit. Everything works.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta make it effective yourself to adapt to your body, to your game, and then obviously it will work this way or that way. But you can do both.
Yeah,
you know?
and I tell you what else is interesting. Like you said with your guy, he's got this one choke that's like super. Like, you tell me what you think in terms of like if somebody's got one thing that's such at a high level and the rest of their game is just okay, it's a huge problem, right? And do you encourage people to go down that road yourself?
No, I always say, look, I don't want them, for example, to be so like one dimension, because I also think like as a color belt is way different. Well, when you get to black belt, they're gonna be more aware. They're not gonna fall easy into traps, you know. Like, so you might end up be a bit shocked when you get there, and like it used to work 80% of the time, and now it works 5% of the time.
Yeah.
So I think this is like something that a lot of people find out or discover too late, you know. So I think I always teach them the basic, like some concepts that you have to follow, like that. Even though like the game developed, there's a few things that you should be worried about more than this, like choking, finding a new one position. But at the same time, the person, he developed a so comfortable situation where he doesn't care about losing to the point he get the choke.
Yeah.
But that gives him so like a confident state of mind, like a peaceful mind. And even like if he doesn't get it to the end, he's not like stressed about it. He'll go the next round and try again. So he's like, and I said, look, people start defending, and then people already defend in the gym. So he's developing other stuffs, other new attacks, you know. So it's like, I don't like them to just develop one situation, but it's also, it's very annoying that you see some guys, for example, you can pass their guard 100 times and mount them, and then you like get tired and a bit sloppy, and you're like, this guy has nothing on me, and then it's 1 second and boom, it's there. So I like to roll with this guy because even though I'm winning, I'm controlling the situations, I have to think for the whole round. Because he's used to people stop and get confident, and that's when
Then he's on you.
So I can't be, you know, and that keeps me on my toes, and I like it. You know, I told him, we rolled yesterday, yeah. And he's like, oh, your time is different. I said, yeah, but you make me think the whole time. Because I know, like, I like to play where he's comfortable as well, but it's always like a dangerous situation. So it makes me be there and like keep always on my toes, so I really like it. But I think people should have developed not just one thing, and it's good when they have something, but after a few years, people start understanding as well, you know, it become a bit more tricky to
Yeah, of course.
You know.
And how about you? What's your favorite submission? or is it a secret?
No, I don't mind. Look, if I could choose, I love arm bars. I think it's one of the most beautiful techniques,
Yeah,
you know, like old school, you know, like a basic arm bar from guard, you know, I really like just high guard and going arm bar. But I think like as a high percentage is back choke,
right?
You know, from back, you know.
Anything particular, rear naked choke, or is it?
If it's no gi, rear naked choke. If it's gi, cross collar from back. You know?
Okay.
Yeah,
old school, really old school. Yeah. That's cool, man. But that's cool. But you mentioned obviously like Damian Maia, who's like the last, maybe not the last, but one of the very last sort of pure martial artists in one art to really do, you know, a high level of MMA.
Yeah.
But are you an MMA fan yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I used to follow a lot more. Nowadays, I don't follow the same.
You don't. But are you up on what's going on in the UFC right now?
Oh yeah, I'm always watching.
The reason I'm asking you, obviously Brazilian, right? There's a certain Brazilian that's doing some mad shit right now, man.
Guy, man.
Mate, and I'll tell you why I bring it up, because just like, literally on the way here, I was listening to like John Jones. As we're filming this is the weekend before John Jones fights Stipe. And everyone keeps talking about him fighting Tom Aspinall, blah, blah, blah. But he said, I'm not fighting Tom Aspinall, I want Alex Pereira.
That's the fight everyone wants to watch, come on.
Well, when he first said, I'm not fighting Tom Aspinall, before he finished the sentence, I'm like, fuck me, come on, bro. But then he said...
The name everyone wants.
I was like,
yes.
All right, I'm listening, you know, because like to me, I think he's so impressive, like what he's doing. Like, and people are like, he got a black belt in Jiu Jitsu recently, right? And people are going, oh, he's not a black belt in Jiu Jitsu. But like, aside from that, how many people are submitting him in the UFC?
Yeah, I'll take him down. I mean, I think the way, maybe if it's like, if things not working on striking for Jones, maybe he'll take him down easy, I think. That's the only problem. Will be like he can change the fight from standing to the floor easy, and I think Alex wouldn't have many skills to. I think Jones can maybe ground and pound him or submit him from top on the floor. And I think like it would be really difficult for him to stand up and keep fighting standing if John don't want to fight.
Yeah.
But I hope they fight, they strike for a while so we can watch.
Well, I just hope it happens, because here's the thing. Like my mindset is exactly like that. When you think about it, you go, John Jones is probably too good. But then I go, but Alex, mate, he's a special guy, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like,
when you see the noise his punches were making in Kalyu, you could hear.
Serious guy.
Like, man.
And the level of striking and the power and everything, and the size as well. He's fucking massive too, isn't he? Like, I don't know how he used to make middleweight, but he's a big boy. But yeah, I got to see that fight happen.
Yeah, everyone wants to watch
I just wish they'd done it like Tom Aspinall wanted to do. He said he wanted to fight Pereira himself on the undercard of Jones Stipe, like, which would have been fucking. Would have
been a good one as well.
Crazy. I'd have took that all day, and the winners fight each other. Come on.
And then let's see who wins, and then send them to the next one.
100%, right? Because again, the reason I bring up Pereira, obviously the Brazilian connection too, but if he wins, he's a freeweight world champion in the UFC. Like, to even like attempt that is fucking madness, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But
just
I think
to
you
do
can
that,
it, man. I think you can do it.
It's possible for sure. You know, like I think Jones is like now heavyweight. He's a bit, he's a bit chubbier. You know.
Well, he's lighter this time. Have you seen it?
Yeah, he dropped
way
a lot.
Down. I think he said he's expecting to come into the cage 20 pounds less than last time.
Which is a big
massive difference.
Yeah. But it would be interesting to see, man. It would be the fight everyone would want to watch now, right?
Mate.
The only one.
100%. Yeah, I mean, the Stipe fight is what it is, isn't it? It's for his.
Yeah,
now,
cool.
we might sound stupid because this will come out after the fight and Stipe might win. But it is what it is, isn't
I don't
it?
think so, man.
I don't think so. I think his time's passed. I think, he's had a long time out and he got knocked out violently in his last one. He's 42,
And who's been more dominant than John Jones, like, and he can change the fight any time he wants.
Yeah,
you know, and like,
special guy, isn't he? Special guy,
yeah.
Very special guy. But then, again, Pereira, Tom Aspinall. What about Tom Aspinall? Just touching on it.
No, I haven't seen much of him, to be honest. But like Stu, our MMA coach, fought him like.
He fought him.
Fought him like maybe good 3 or 5 years ago. Like
so quite recent.
Yeah, before I think it was one of his. Maybe last fight before he gets into
Who's
UFC.
What's the
Stuart Austin, our MMA coach.
Okay, shout out Stuart Austin.
Yes, Stu. So it was, that's when I first heard of him.
Yep.
So to be honest, I haven't seen much. I think his last fight or previous one, but I haven't seen much of him, to be honest.
Because I had a guy on here, and shout out Big Steve Henshaw from Manchester. He's a black belt under Tom's dad.
Okay,
And he was like, mate, ain't even a fight. He's like, Tom's going to smash him to pieces. And now I know he's obviously from, like, he knows them personally, but he was like, mate, ain't even a fight. He's going to beat him easy. And I was like, because after his last fight, I don't know if you saw it, he just keeps knocking people out fast. And I always thought, but it ain't John Jones. But then after the last one, I was a little bit like, mate, he might do that to him.
We did that to a few guys, right? But he didn't beat anyone yet. But to the guy. But now is the next test, right? Yeah. So we'll see what's going to happen.
We'll see, man. I just hope we see it, because
I think we did that to Gordon Ryan, like when he beat but he haven't beaten any of the guys. Then first ADCC, but he beat Romulo Barral easy. That guy, now he beat Xande Ribeiro. Now it's like,
at a certain point you got to go, fucking hell, At a certain point, innit, it's like, oh man, But Gordon Ryan, I mean, we can touch on him briefly. Like, is he the greatest no-gi grappler of all time, in your opinion?
I mean, look, as a stats, probably, right? Like his record, can't deny it, you know. But like, it's hard to say, because for me to be the greatest guy is not just your record. You can talk about records separate, but I think like I would put other guys in front because of their attitude or like the similar record, like same amount of titles as him, as ADCC. But I also think like the times change so much, like, for example, Gordon fought different competition, like it's either who's number one, ADCC, submission only matches, He fought World's No-Gi once just to prove everyone, and he went there and won easy, But I think also the the times are a bit different. For example, when you see like the first guys that caught our attention, I think Marcelo Garcia as a no-gi grappler, you know, like some guys like or Damian, Roger, Jacaré. It's a different time. I think there was more like a respectful thing. They were all like the biggest names. There was like the biggest names in Jiu-Jitsu, the guys that we always like seen as the heroes. And I just think like how he got himself to this level of like, you know, the trash talking and stuff. You can't deny his record, but I wouldn't say he's the greatest of all time because of the attitude, I would say.
I hear you. I don't like it. I don't like the attitude. I like a warrior to act like a warrior. Do you know what I mean? I believe in that.
I mean, the guy is amazing. Probably like the most dominant for sure. Yeah, and how easily he won the fights and how easy it was for him when he did the HCC and then he fought Andre and stuff. Obviously the most dominant. But the greatest, I like to put like guys with better attitude a bit before him.
Who would you say? Who's number one?
I think Marcelo, man. You know.
Garcia,
yeah.
When he's coming back, you see this? He's
that's
just
really
signed with
cool.
one.
That's
so
really cool.
Which would be nice to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you have to keep Gordon, Marcelo, Roger, you know, like, I think these guys, you know, I always, you know, Rafa Mendes, you know, like, see how, when he competed, Cobrinha, you know, but yeah, these guys, they're all for me in the same level, I would say.
Yeah, and it's hard to compare eras too, isn't it? Different
Exactly,
times.
I think it's hard, you know. Obviously, the level is amazing today as it was before. The technical level is maybe more, like, wide, you know, like now than before. I think, like, before people would, the only cool thing is, there are jiu-jitsu guys that would do gi the whole year and then they'll take the gi to do ADCC and
like a no-gi season, right?
Exactly,
back in the day,
yeah. This is what I think it was cool.
Yeah.
But now, like, also it's split in two directions where it's like you gotta make a choice. And I think the no-gi grappling gives maybe more, it's paying more, it's having more chance to be like a no-gi professional, more like submission-only fights, more shows that cater more for no-gi than gi. Gi is like, okay, IBJJF, you get maybe a few, you know, the crown, IBJJF, but as a paying, I think the no-gi athletes are having more opportunities.
Money talks, doesn't it?
And I think the guys are understanding, okay, like, if you want to have a better chance, a better opportunity to get paid and stuff, they need to be training more no-gi seriously.
Yeah.
And that, you know, like, makes them kind of choose a bit. Mm-hmm. But I also think they're so cool that you see that some guys only do no-gi and they're very successful, but there is a few group of guys that they are very successful doing both, like Diego Pato, like Taina just started, you know, Mika Galvão does both, Pato, you know, the Rotolo brothers, they don't do a lot of gi, but they still do gi, you know. And I think this is really cool to see still guys doing, but they're special guys as well, you know, like you see, they're not like just regular guys. There's a level to it, you know.
Yeah.
And they don't need much training. I think they do a lot of gi, they just put the gi on, you know, quick compete, but then back to focus on the main focus no gi.
But it's cool, isn't it? Like, how do you see jiu-jitsu going? Because, like, obviously the problem with jiu-jitsu a lot of the time is, like, if I get some of my friends that don't do jiu-jitsu to watch a match, they're looking at it going, huh? What the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas if you watch MMA, it's easy to understand, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think, look, that is a lot down to the two athletes, right? And the rule set. The rule set can determine a bit the pace sometimes, or like how much they're gonna fight for it, or like if there's a prize or not, I don't know. But I think like this down to the athletes a lot, you know. If you put two boring guys, or two guys, look, people complain a bit about gi matches being boring, right? Like lapel and 50-50. But you know what I think is very boring as well in no-gi? Two guys like trying to take each other down and nothing happening.
Yeah.
You know, like just headbutting each other and pushing each other, chest to chest. And just two leg lock guys that just keep like sitting down and like it's the same.
Yeah,
you know, like I know they try and submit, they get a leg lock, but there's no submission, there's no advancing in positions as well. They just like rolling. They don't try and pass, they don't go and put pressure or control the head, like, you know. I think this is really boring as well. Yeah. I hate to see that. And I've seen gi matches that are more exciting than this.
Yeah.
So I think this down to the athletes, what they go, what they have, like what athletes you're putting on. Because you can put two athletes in the gi and they're gonna give you a great match in the gi, and some you put two guys in the no gi, and you see some boring fights. So I think it's down to the athletes first and the rule set.
Yeah. Do you think it's rule set or like mindset? Because like Danaher spoke about it too, and I think I agree. I didn't think about it till he said it, but when I heard him say it, it was like they've got to be ambitious to go for the submission.
Of course,
Not try and win on points.
Of course, it's down to how you practice, how you fight, how you practice in training is how you're gonna compete. You know, like so. It's down to the coach, right? How he set like what the idea of the training or the mentality of the training. But then it's also like in each individual mindset, you know, like you can put like an ambitious mindset in people, but they still like, okay, I don't want to lose. He doesn't win, I don't lose. I'm happy with that, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a challenge changing their person's mindset,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
But I think it's down obviously mindset as well. This is all down to like back to the attitude they have is like, okay, I want to win, I want to fight forward, fight to win. And some people, I think it's down to how they've been taught, how they learn, how they, you know, kept going through the stage. They see the belts or the gradings, how they approach the match, you know, like, and depend a lot about, obviously, look, there's strategies, you know, there are guys that, okay, you have to be a bit more conservative, because if you say you go, okay, you step in between the leg, you're going to get leg locked. So obviously, down to strategy, you need to be a bit more careful and mindful how you approach their game, each opponent differently, I think. You know, like when there's like one fight, I like to kind of understand the strength and weakness of the person we're fighting to, maybe, you know, explore here and there or not go in some direction. But I think it's a lot to the mentality as well, you know. But it's a lot involved. The mentality of the school, the mentality of the coach, the person you're dealing with, the athlete, and a lot how the other ones game as well, how they approach as well. You know, so obviously you say, okay, the other guy is very aggressive, he goes open and he is attacking. So sometimes like, okay, let's put on a show. And then you go and it's like, you know, I can get tapped or he can tap me because it's so like we're so open. So I depending on how important is the fight, or maybe it's like if it's something that is big, I think sometimes I'll be more conservative. I'll say, guys, let's understand a bit the strength, see they open, see maybe frustrate them a bit, you know, see if they open a mistake or they open more for the attack, and then we catch opportunity. But depend on the level of the opponent as well, you know. So it's a lot involved, I would say. Yeah. But the mindset is very important.
I'll tell you one thing, and I brought this up, and people have told me, shut up talking about it, you keep going on, but I think it was fun to do. So I don't know if you heard Entity, grappling competition.
Yeah, I heard.
So I was at one of those, I commentated on one with the Ronin, shout out to Ronin, he invited me to do it, and it was like, it was mostly white and blue belts. So already they're going to be going crazy, right? They're not looking at us. I mean, obviously they've got a game plan. I'm not being like disrespectful, but it was more like it was a 5-minute match, no points, no scoring, referee's decision at the end. And mate, I tell you what, it was fucking one of the most fun experiences I've ever watched.
Because they just went for it.
They just go for it. There's no bullshit. There was no conservative nothing. There was submissions going all over the place. People was competing against each other multiple times because there was like gi and no gi. So you'd see some guys go at it no gi, then some guys, then the same pair go at it.
First time I hear. And I believe every rule set should be tested.
Yep. And
obviously some rule sets, I don't agree much because, for example, submission, okay? Okay, submission only. Whoever has more submission attempts wins. How dangerous was the submission
Problematic, isn't it? Yeah.
Because I've seen guys that got completely dominated and they just sat back for a bad straight ankle lock and it wasn't even there, but just they played with the rule.
Touched the wrist. I was waiting for a wrist lock, ref.
He had 3 attempts while the other guy passed the guard twice, mounted. For me, the guy that dominated won.
Yep.
So I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also agree and think that if you're an athlete, you need to fight all rule sets.
Yep.
That's going to make you better overall. Okay. That's going to make you prepare better for overall, for like having to deal with change of strategies, change of scenarios, or understand the rule and play with the rule sometimes, you know, to win. Because some athletes are very good. They're not the best, but they understand the rule very well, and they win because they understand the rule.
Because they're playing a game.
Exactly. And this is very important as well. You know, like Goes down to mindset, but with strategies as well, I think, you know.
What do you think about just pure referee's decision? As in, like, not points, no scoring, we watch it and we decide?
That's the problem. I think leaving to a referee decision, it's like, it depends on what he believes.
Right, yeah.
Who won or not, you know?
Yeah.
Which you might think athlete A won, I might think athlete B won. But you, the ref, you're gonna decide.
Yeah.
So obviously I'll be upset with your decision.
Right.
You know, but you gotta respect the ref decision. You signed up, and you know, like, this is the rule. You go in, and then there will be a ref that's gonna decide.
Yeah,
you have to accept.
Yeah.
You know. But also, like, when we know there's some dodgy refs that, okay, the other guy won, but he likes, so he trained with the other guy, and he's gonna decide for that guy.
Oh,
then you know, like,
oh yeah, that happens, boy.
that's when it's really sad. You know.
Yeah. Because here's my thing, I've spoken about this before, about MMA. So, like, to me, I think they should score it for, you know, there's like complications with point scoring and who, this opinion, that opinion. To me, I think the judges should just watch the fight, who won the fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Keep it simple. If me and you watch a fight outside a bar, now I know it's not exactly the same thing, but we've got an idea of who won, right? I think keep it simple. He won. And I think you could, I know Jiu-Jitsu is different because it's not as such a fight, it's different, there's more technical aspects and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think if you had that kind of mindset with it, there's sort of ways to branch off it and sort of, do you see where I'm coming from? There's ways you can look at it and sort of make it just, keep it simple. Do you know what I mean? Because
I think in general, it's easy. But imagine, like, because, for example, you can see, like, who got more takedowns. And I think once in a while, you will become, like, stuck to make the decision.
Yeah.
But I think in general, it's easier.
Yeah.
You know, like, in general, it's easier. But, you know, like, first round, I got 2 takedowns. And I got a couple good strikes, you know, landed a few good strikes. Then the second round, things changed. You took me down a few times and landed a couple strikes. So it's like, who's winning?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then depends on the last round. So the last round, both were tired. No one got taken down. I landed a few strikes. You landed a few. You know, so I think we did separating in rounds and score, but still get to a draw, right? It's like, wow.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If it's close enough and you go, who do you think won? I don't, maybe
very
him,
close.
Fuck it, draw.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
it's
also,
very tricky as well.
I'd get rid of rounds too, but that's a whole separate rant. Do you know what I mean?
Remember Pride? It was one 15-minute round, one 10-minute round.
1 10 and then a 5.
Then
and then,
5.
But for me, why not just have 15 minutes? Fight, go, see what happens.
Or maybe do like a 10-minute round, and that's it. One round, 10 minutes, and that's it. Because
perfect.
Like 25, I think we would see way more action if we reduce the time.
100% agree with that.
Reduce a bit the time, you know, maybe even for the belt titles, you know, like the 3-5 minutes.
Fuck it, go hard, fast. Let
3
it
minutes
do. Well, I've said this before about boxing too. Like in boxing matches now, pure boxing fans will go, fucking stupid, whatever. But if you watch a Muay Thai world title fight, they're 5 3-minute rounds. Why not have boxing matches as 5 3-minute rounds? Could you imagine how fast paced they'd be? 5 3-minute rounds. Go for it.
Go for it. That's it.
Let's see it.
I think cutting down the time would benefit the show for sure.
I do, 100%.
The athletes would be more prepared to give more in less short time. They wouldn't be scared. Like, there's still like 3 rounds to go, and you like done two tough rounds. You know, like you still have 3 more rounds to go. That must be scary.
That's hard to do, right? And also,
when you have John Jones like Pereira on the other side, and you Khalil round 3 getting like, and you're like. So you have to do 3 more rounds with these guys.
Yeah, and you fight more often too, right? Because you're not taking as much damage.
Fight more often.
Training's not as punishing. The whole. I don't know.
I think that would benefit. But I think it's like they would have to get more matches in the card because maybe some fights could finish so early and then the show would be short.
But that's another interesting thing too, because I don't know if you've been to MMA shows sometimes and you get there too early. Okay, now you wish you'd stayed at home for another 2 hours, right? And that's hard too. Like sometimes I was in America. I went to one championship, right?
Okay.
Now it's not all MMA. They do some it was supposed to be Mikey Mushi.
How cool do you think that format is?
It's cool. It's cool.
And do you think?
Go on.
Yeah. Do you think they get all the crowds, the Muay Thai crowd, the Jiu Jitsu crowd, and the MMA crowd?
I think so.
Together?
I think they do together. Yeah. I think it's cool, but I like UFC better. UFC is the top of the mountain, do you know what I mean? Whereas that's like, it's cool, I'm seeing all these different fights, but I don't want to see that in the UFC. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Did you watch what, Muay Thai and what?
Yeah, so it was the card, I don't know if you remember when Mikey Mushi had something with his lung. He was supposed to be on it the day before. Okay. It was that one, so there was 2 Muay Thais at the end, and it was fun. But it was like, the way they do the show, the reason I bring it up in relation to how many fights, I went to the main card and I think I saw 5 fights. And
Which
it was
is
good.
okay.
Perfect.
Quick.
That's enough. That's my night out. That's
Yeah,
all I need.
that's
I don't
enough.
need 20 fights. That was
No.
great. I saw 5 great fights, and I was in and out of the arena in about an hour and a half max.
So, but it was 5 different grappling, MMA.
I think
striking.
I think it was 3 Muay Thai and 2 MMA fights I saw.
Okay. Because look, if you see the best, if you put these main card 5 fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you put the best strikers, and then the best grapplers, and then the best MMA guys, and then maybe, you know, you will see a good show.
But you can also do it like boxing does too, where they have floaters. I don't know if you're aware of this, where it's like, you know, if the fight is going too fast, they bring in a fight just to keep you company.
keep you,
so
yeah.
it's like a lower. It's like it can go at any point on the card. So it might be like a young prospect against like a journeyman who's had 100 fights, lost, or only won 3 fights, lost the rest, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then like, you know, right, there's a big gap, boom, you're on, boom, and it goes, you know, like stuff like that to fill the card.
Yeah, I always thought that this was interesting from one, but it's like, I don't watch Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So like, how many times I would sit, okay, I have to watch
yeah.
Muay Thai again today. No, I just watch
But
the
do you know
the
why it's cool in
grappling
one?
later.
Because I'm the same. But they have the MMA gloves on, and the pace was fucking electric. And there was
So
it
you
was like
enjoyed?
2 knockouts. It was knockouts. There was loads of knockouts. There was, I don't know if you remember the guy. What was his name? John Lineker, Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
He was on the card. Now he's built like a fucking caveman.
Yeah.
And he was
Short-
fighting a guy.
short wonder
Yeah,
man.
like a tank. And the guy who was fighting was tall, like technical, ping, ping, ping. But it was just like he couldn't hurt him. And like every time John Lineker landed one, it was like, bah, and he ended up knocking him out. And it was just exciting to see. And like again, I'm a fan of martial arts. I've trained Muay Thai and stuff, but I'm not an expert in Muay Thai by any means. But watching it was fun because there was fast-paced knockouts.
But you watch like some of the best guys in like not 10 fights, but you watch two of the best fights.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
that's
why
cool.
I think it is as well. It's like if you see Muay Thai fights in Thailand or historically, they don't make much money, right?
Yeah.
So they're fighting a lot all the time. So they're not going so crazy because they're probably looking after their body. Now this is all theory. Someone might watch this and go, no, that's not why. Fine. But when you watch it there and they're getting in one, they're getting paid, like really paid well.
So they go for it.
So they know they only got to fight that time and they can rest after.
Yeah, but in also like, if I fight and like, if I don't put on a show, they're not calling me back.
Right, there you go.
And then they have to go, you know, like, and that's when you see like good matchup fights. Yeah.
So the 2 Thais that knocked out the 2 English boys. So it was Liam Harrison and Jonathan Haggerty.
Yeah,
2
Haggerty,
big
yeah.
names, right? And they both got knocked out, unfortunately. Obviously, I was supporting them on English, right? But they fought, I don't know which way round it was, someone can help me out, but it was a fella called Superlek and Seksan, 2 Thais. I think it was Seksan was fighting Liam Harrison. Either way. But these Thais were like apparently really famous. Like, again, I'm not the biggest Muay Thai fan, but watching them, I was lucky enough to go to the open workouts and shit. And like when you see it up close, it's like, yeah, man.
Mad,
because
right?
They're only going to fight like, I think it's 3 or 5 rounds. So you know you can fight hard for that time, right? Like, and you're watching them hit these pads and you're going, this is going to be fucking exciting, man. I can't miss this one, you know? So that was all part of it, yeah. But are you a fan of other martial arts like boxing and stuff?
Not much. You know, I used to watch Tyson when I was a kid, watch some of Tyson.
Perfect,
Yeah.
because he's fighting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you interested in that one or what?
I was, but then like I heard about the contract. It's a bit weird, right? There's something like Tyson cannot knock him out, something like that.
I wonder if that's
more,
true though. Can they do that?
I don't know. If more rounds, he gets paid more, something like that. So I think it's like, this is what they just want to get paid and then leave, and they're going to fight hard and stuff.
Yeah, I got you. Because I'm excited about it, and this will come out after the fights happen, so we'll see. But I'm going to pick the Mike Tyson knockout. Fuck it. I've seen him training.
I hope so. Man, it's scary, right? Almost 60 years
almost
old.
60 years old. It's special 60 though, isn't he? Like 58.
And what he said is the coolest thing is like, he's a media-made animal. I'm
a real animal.
Born animal.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they asked him as well. They said, "You was a young killer once. What's it like to be fighting a young killer now?" He was like, "Is he a young killer really?"
Yeah,
he was like,
come on. Like,
yeah.
like I was back
I was
then.
a young
No
kid.
way,
Yeah,
no way.
Exactly.
But you know, you can't take him out because obviously, like, remember when he fought Tyron Woodley?
Yeah.
You're like, he's gonna get smashed.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
yeah, it's a bad time for Tyron. But if
The
you look at
age.
it now, and I know it's easy to say, but Tyron Woodley's not a great boxer, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's a big, massive puncher.
That's the thing. Of course, he's not a boxer, but you think like, wow, this guy, you know, has the conditioning, the skills, and the like. Man, the guy's a professional athlete, and a world
real
champion,
fighter,
a real fighter. And this guy's a YouTuber.
Yep.
But it's just a boxing match, and
boxing
have your hands, and that's it. When you got the hands.
That's it. And he lost to Tommy Fury in a boxing match, and Jake Paul. So it's like, I just go,
Yeah, come on.
If Tyson's got it for, like, if he can go hard for a round,
Yeah.
which you got to think, I think, come on, let's get him out of there. I mean, here's my prediction. I'm going to get tricky on this one and comments and whatever. I'd love, because as I say, this will come out after the fight, right? So you'll be able to fucking slaughter me. But I'm going to go Mike Tyson first round knockout, puts him down 3 times, okay? And the ref stops it on the 3rd one. Because I think he's going to come out like a lunatic and I think he'll get him. Maybe wishful thinking.
My prediction is, if he's not on the 1st or 2nd round, then it's gonna go to the end.
Yeah, it could get tough then. I think if it goes past them few rounds,
2-3 rounds,
it'll be
3rd
slow,
round, 4th round,
and it'll get quite like fucking hell, plodding around, and it'll look shit.
Because that's like, if he doesn't knock him out in the start, when he starts slowing down, and then the speed and the strength and the conditioning start, like
youth comes into play.
Exactly.
31 years younger.
That's when it gets dangerous for him.
It's dangerous then. It's dangerous then.
But I think he's so experienced.
Come on,
in there, man.
fight gods, huh?
Exactly.
Be on our side
he's so experienced in there, man. It's like, you know, so many years doing. But we never know. I hope he wins and
we
get
hope he wins. I think everyone hopes he fucking wins, except Jake Paul's mum.
Everyone. Apparently, his brother and his mum and the
Do you know
girlfriend.
what I mean? That's it. That's all that cares. Like, please, man, please. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, before we finish up, mate, I can't let a Brazilian go without talking about football, right?
Let's do it.
Tell me, because Brazil, like when I was growing up, my favourite player, I think was one of the best footballers of all time, was the real Ronaldo, not Cristiano. Ronaldo Nazario.
Yeah, the phenom.
Mate, how good he was and stuff. But like, you're a little bit older than me, but like, what was it like growing up? Was you a football player before you was a martial artist?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
we all thought, I want to be a football player.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I used to play every day, football every day, and train jiu-jitsu like every day as well. So, but at some point, I didn't get injured in jiu-jitsu, but I would get broken in football. You know, a broke finger, twisted knee, had surgery on the knee because of football. You know, and like when I was purple belt, I was like, you know what? If I have the plan of having my gym and opening and teaching and competing, I have to make a decision, you know, because I remember I broke my finger playing football and I had to stop training for 3 weeks. I was like, you know what? I don't want to stop training jiu-jitsu. I don't care about football anymore, you know. And I'm not going to become a football player anyway. So I used to love it, man. We used to play football. Like I used to, when I was 12 to I was maybe 20, you know, I would play football every day from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. We would be like just cross the road on my house. We would play, there was a club with like me and other 20 kids, same age. We would finish school and at 2 p.m. we would there playing football. We would play. And then later the older guys would come and kick us out. And then we'd be sitting out there for a couple hours, eat a bit and then wait and then go back and play till like 10 p.m., you know? So I loved it. But then I made a decision after to stop because it was like becoming dangerous, you know, I was getting injured. But I go back now.
Go back now?
Here. I go back now. Tomorrow, Saturday, we play in Fightzone against a 313 gym, fitness, martial arts. We play a charity football.
11 aside?
No, 7 aside.
7 aside, yeah.
So yeah, I'm back.
We're back. Football's back.
Yeah, it's in the blood. So it's always there. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing. Every Sunday we play a bit. And then we're going to do this charity match against these other gyms. So it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Who's the best Brazilian football player you've ever seen?
Look, you have Ronaldo, right? You've probably seen Ronaldinho, the after Ronaldo, like the other one. They played together many times.
I saw him play live.
Yeah, but there's one guy, man. There's the best goal scorer I ever seen, Romario.
Remember him? Yeah.
Remember him?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Like if inside the area, you would never see anyone. He's like the best striker I ever seen. So, I mean, Ronaldo was like, he was very physically strong, even though he dealt with injuries because he had to stop early because of knee injuries. But he was also physically strong, man. He was like, he could carry the ball from across the pitch when he was in Barcelona, remember? Mm-hmm. So, but Romario was just inside the area, you know, like.
Just a goal scorer.
He's like, he could score with his eyes closed. And he played for my team. So he was like, he came from my team. And yeah, we have the statue of him in the
Oh, really?
Is
that right? Yeah, the statue of Romario.
So, I mean, like, I think Ronaldo was more successful as like an international player, like played for Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, you know, played for Brazil, won the World Cup. But Romario won the World Cup when he was 16 years old. Ronaldo was in 1994, Ronaldo was 17 years old when he was the youngest player to go to World Cup.
Yeah.
And then, but Romario was the main guy. He scored the goals, and he was
right,
like,
yeah.
so, and they played together later, but yeah, Romario was.
Romario's the guy.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah,
well, my mate.
Oli,
appreciate
pleasure,
it.
brother. Nice one.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
touched on it slightly. I'm going to ask, before we finish, I always ask the most important question.
Yes.
You touched on it slightly, but I'm going to see if I can get the right answer.
Yeah.
Because there is a wrong answer.
All
There
right,
is a correct
let's go.
and a wrong. Which football team do you support?
Vasco da Gama.
All right, cool. I can't
Okay,
argue
but
with
what?
that.
In England?
In England.
Man City.
Wrong answer. Why Man City? Just briefly.
Look, people. Let me get to this part.
Because they win everything.
I'll say why. You know, I always played Football Manager. It's like a computer.
Yeah, of course. I
game.
remember. I used to
FIFA,
love it. Yeah.
FIFA a lot, like playing, but Football Manager. And then I think it's 2011 is when City, I think, started getting money and stuff.
Yeah.
So they had one very famous Brazilian player, two actually, but one that was really good at the time. It was like Robinho.
Remember, yeah.
And then I started using them because they had money. I could buy all players. So they had money. I was, buying. Yeah. But then I always liked football, English football. I liked Liverpool, Manchester United, City, and all that stuff. But then back in 2016 or 17, I was called to do like a workshop in Man City, in the Etihad Stadium. So. And then they brought me there. They took all my family. They gave the kits for the kids. We spent the weekend there, And I did like a workshop for the directors and everyone how to train, like motivate athletes and high level. So it was an amazing experience for me. And then obviously after that, I had like a big, thing with them. So they invited me for matches. I went back there and stuff. So I was like, come on, Lau. My son, now he started loving football. And he's like, Dad, what's the best team? I was like, Man City. So he's Manchester City, but my team is Vasco da Gama.
But it's not too late to say Chelsea, you know what I mean? We're still rolling.
I like Chelsea as well. I can't say it's like my team. But it's like I like to watch. I like good football, so I went to watch City. I watched Chelsea. I watch all of them.
Brilliant,
my
guy. Yeah,
nice
I
one.
appreciate you,
nice
mate.
one, brother.
Before we finish up, is there any sponsors or anything you want to shout out? Obviously, your gym. We'll put it all in the description. But anything you want to shout out,
Fightzone London, and my sponsors, the best support I ever had, Progress, all the crew, James and Phil, Josh, all the guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our first sponsors come on board, guys. MIE Coaching, mental, internal, external. I'll expand on it more as we go on because I've started using myself. I'll never have a sponsor on here that I don't use myself and that I don't believe in. I'm not going to get a Diet Coke sponsor, but you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go with something that I don't believe in anyway, so I'll expand on it more as we go along. But as I say, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, guys.
I always finish with the fist up like this.
Hope you enjoy.
Squeeze the neck. Boom!